There was worrying news yesterday about a possible complication of COVID-19 causing unusual symptoms in children.
Well, up until now, it's been viewed that children are largely unaffected by the virus, but yesterday the NHS sent an urgent alert to GPs across the country to look out for a rare but dangerous reaction in children, following reports from doctors working in intensive care units.
Well, we can speak to Dr Ranj now to explain more. Good morning to you, Ranj. So just to explain what this is, how do we even know about this?
So on the surface, this alert would seem quite scary, but we've got to put it into perspective. What we've seen over the last few weeks is a number of children that have been admitted to hospital, some of which have ended up in intensive care, with a certain pattern of illness, which is a little bit worrying. Some of them have tested positive for coronavirus and some of them haven't. And this alert went out to healthcare professionals to ask them to be extra vigilant just in case we were seeing something new emerging. Now, what we've seen is these children have what we call a hyperinflammatory syndrome, where they have lots and lots of inflammation around the body. And some of their symptoms that they're coming in with are similar to another condition that we already see in small children called Kawasaki disease. Now, Kawasaki disease is a relatively poorly understood condition at the moment. We don't know what causes it, but it can make you quite unwell. And if it isn't treated properly, you can have long-term problems with your heart. In fact, it's the biggest cause of non-inherited heart problems in children in this country. So that's why we're taking it a little bit more seriously. Whilst we're collecting more information and obviously finding out what is happening with these children, an alert has just gone out to healthcare professionals asking them that if they're concerned about a child, get specialist advice early. And that's what it's for. And I wouldn't panic anybody else, to be honest.
The thing is that we shouldn't have seen that report in the first place. It was leaked, and I'm assuming these reports happen all the time. It just so happens that we're on a heightened state of awareness because of COVID-19.
Yeah, well, this kind of report going out is perfectly normal because whenever we are seeing something potentially new emerging, reports like this would go out all the time. For example, if we had a measles outbreak anywhere, reports like this would go out asking health professionals to be extra vigilant and report in or get specialist advice early. What we have to make very clear here is that we don't know whether coronavirus is causing this new pattern of illness, and it's only a small number of children, mind. We don't know whether it's definitely related to Kawasaki disease or whether we're dealing with something else entirely, which is why at the moment we are still learning a lot about it, but we're asking people to be extra careful.
And I think, Dr Ranj, the problem is that people are concerned because they're questioning whether or not it's COVID-19 that's sort of developing or changing in some way.
Yeah, I mean, those questions will always come up, especially given that we're in the midst of a pandemic right now. Everybody is worried about coronavirus. And when you have lots and lots of cases of a condition, then you can get rare complications. That's what we're trying to find out. However, at this stage, the advice for the general public has not changed. The advice for parents, carers and their children has not changed. And I would just reiterate, one of the commonest features of this new inflammatory syndrome we're seeing, and also Kawasaki disease, is a persistent, unremitting fever. So if your child is unwell, is getting more and more unwell, or isn't getting any better, and they're having a temperature that's lasting for 5 days or longer, and they may have other symptoms like a rash, they may have red, cracked skin, swollen tongue, swollen mouth, swollen fingers and toes. If those are the kinds of symptoms that you're seeing, please just speak to a healthcare professional. Remember, the NHS is open for everybody that needs it, regardless of what it's for.
Are you seeing, as doctors looking internationally, are you seeing this in other countries? Are you seeing clusters? Are you aware of the ages?
So we're definitely seeing it in school-age children in this country, and we don't know exactly how many children are affected here in the UK, but we're guessing probably between 20 to 30 have been affected over the last few weeks. Not all of them have been serious, obviously. We have seen some reports from other countries as well. For example, my colleagues in Spain have started to report that they have seen some cases of this too, and we'll probably hear from other places around the world. That makes us think that this could potentially be related to coronavirus, but again, it doesn't prove it. We need more information.
And it's a hell of a coincidence, though, isn't it?
It could be, or it could be that we've got a completely new agent emerging altogether. We just don't know. Fortunately, and I'm just going to reiterate this, it is only a small number of children, thankfully. And again, children are still at the lowest risk of coronavirus from everyone. They do get the condition, but they tend to get a mild illness and they tend to get better at home and not develop any complications. However, they still have to follow the same rules as everyone else.
And it is good to keep some perspective on this, for sure.
Yeah,
Ranj,
absolutely.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Ranj.
Thank you.